All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Advisor's Advantage. Today we are here with the one, the only Renee Astacio with Town and Country Real Estate Consultants. And we have got a great show for you. So without further ado, let's jump into the show. Renee, hi.
Hi.
As we do with every show, we go through a series of questions. We're going to go through these questions with you, and we're going to start with asking you, tell us in the audience all about you. Tell us who you are, what you do for a living, how you do it, and most importantly, why you do it.
So I am Renee Astacio from Town and Country Real Estate Consultants. I am a broker sales associate,
Mm-hmm.
and I am also a mother of 3 lovely children.
Mm-hmm.
And I love being in real estate. There's nothing better than seeing the satisfaction and being able to get people to the closing table, or even if it's just a rental, and get people into their home. And I like bringing people home.
Mm-hmm. And you forgot to mention mother of 3 pups?
3 dogs,
3
yes.
lovely
2
dogs.
bulldogs and a cockapoo.
How do you do all that? Manage 3 dogs, 3 children,
Several rental properties.
several rental properties, many transactions, lovely buyers and sellers. How do you manage all
I don't stop.
that? Well, that's definitely one way to
I
do it.
keep going, and I don't stop. I
Yes.
work hard for all of them, the clients, the kids, the dogs.
Mm-hmm. Well, that I can see from our many conversations. I will tell you that Renee is a very hard worker, and it explains a lot why you're so successful. So why do you do this? Why choose real estate as a profession?
I'm a people person. I like
Mm-hmm.
talking to people. I like meeting different people. I enjoy going different places. I enjoy looking at houses. And like I said, there's a real satisfaction in being able to bring people home, whether it's somebody's first purchase, somebody's investment property, or even just a rental, being able to bring people home. A house is literally one of the most expensive things that somebody will probably ever purchase in their life. And being part of that process it's just, it's wonderful.
It is pretty powerful being in that section of their life, right? Like I feel like life is full of chapters, right? And we often turn the page, move on to the next chapter with life, but it's being part of that home acquisition, being home part of that beginning of a family, right? Where I feel like many families begin with that process, buying a home. It's
And I
pretty
can't
powerful.
can't tell you how many times my clients have turned into friends.
Yeah.
And I've received Christmas cards, I've been invited to weddings and baby showers, and it's nice to know that through the relationship of being their realtor, they put so much trust into me that I actually became a part of the family or a friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty powerful, and that all has to do with how you make them feel, right? I'm sure they feel confident and comfortable with you, and have no problem inviting you to their birthday parties.
No, I was just at a birthday party for a client last week.
Right, and who does that? Who goes to the birthday parties? I'm sure with 3 kids, 3 dogs, and everything else you got going on. I think that's pretty awesome.
Well, that young lady made sure that she selected me as her agent, so I thought it was important if she could give me that opportunity to sell her home, that I could give her some of my time on a Friday and celebrate her birthday with her.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and that kind of leads me into the next question. So this show, The Advisor's Advantage, we're focused on providing an advantage to our first-time home buyers. Right, this market is crazy. The last few years have been insane, and many buyers are out there experiencing a buying process that is unprecedented. Right, at, I've seen offers to 200,000 over ask in the last couple of years. I've seen bidding wars 50 plus deep buyers. So and I feel like that's coming back. I feel like with the inventory where it's at, with the influx of first time home buyers coming into the market and rates, God willing, dropping, which I do believe is going to happen. We're already seeing it a little bit. I think it's going to get a little intense. So, is there any tips or advice or suggestions that you can offer to the audience that would give a first time home buyer an advantage over another?
So, the first thing I want to say is don't get discouraged. I know that the market is challenging, and but you know yourself, as we closed several
Hmm.
FHA loans together
Yeah.
just this past year, it's not impossible.
Right.
People are still purchasing homes.
Right.
And in an ever changing market, why wait? Go out and grab it. Don't get discouraged, but be ready. Because as also a listing agent, when I'm getting offers in, I'm not waiting for someone to, bring their offer. If you go out, have in mind looking at houses that you want, be prepared that if you see the house you want, that you make the time to sign the contract, that you already have your pre-approval, that you have all your ducks in a row. Look at listings carefully before you go see them because, for example, if you see in a description that a home is a fixer upper and you're not willing to do work, why waste time going to that home
Hmm.
when you could be going to another home and snatching it up,
Hmm.
that's move-in ready.
I love it. And that's a great piece of advice because too many times, let's face it, buyers don't know what they don't know, right? And just something as simple as having your ducks in a row and doing your homework goes a long way, and being ready to make that offer, when it's time. Tell us, why would anybody out there looking to work with a real estate agent, why would they choose you over any other agent?
Well, honestly, there's several agents. There's a million, probably, maybe more.
Hmm.
We all do the same thing. We all sell houses, but we all do it differently.
Right.
And, no matter how many clients I have, I always make sure to give them 110% of me, all of me. I've took my laptop on vacation with me, wrote deals
Yeah.
from vacation that maybe annoyed my family.
Yeah, often, right?
But I always prioritize my clients first, and I'm always honest about any situation, even if it kills my deal. If
Hmm.
it's in my client's best interest not to move forward, I'll tell them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've had a couple deals where it was you were almost guided them away from the transaction just because it wasn't the best one for them.
I would rather have to take deals apart and put them back together again than have anybody walk away from me saying that they got a bad deal or
Yes,
being unhappy.
that's
So even if it takes more time, even if we see more houses, even if I have to write 100 contracts, I would rather know that they walked away, they felt that they got good service from me, and that they're 110% happy with their home.
that's awesome. Can you remember your first real estate transaction?
Yes, I can because I sold my first house to my cousin, and it was literally like the first month working, and
Hmm.
it was a home pass house.
Oh boy.
It was a foreclosure,
Oh
and
yeah.
I was just like, they don't tell you that about that in real estate school,
No,
like
they don't.
uploading documents and all
Right.
that stuff. And she was, on edge.
Hmm.
And it was, they say a lot of times that families the most difficult to deal with. And it is because, not only are you dealing with your client, but then they're telling like your mom, your uncle, all these people
Uh
about
huh.
what's going on. So you have a full audience. And it was my first time, but at the end of the day, she got an awesome deal on a condo and she still lives there today and she's happy. So,
Yeah, it's tough when the challenges make their way to the dinner table, or the family function, the holiday event or something. Yes. We've worked with some family members together, and
some of both of ours.
yes, so mine, some of yours, and I feel like a couple of them were challenges, but some of them were pretty easy. Your sister was a pretty smooth transaction.
Yes, and she's very happy.
Yes, and she was nice to work with. Uh, where do you think is you, what would you say is your favorite type of transaction? Who do you love to work with the most?
That's hard because
It
my
is hard.
clients are so diverse. Like while I work with a bunch of first-time home buyers, I have a lot of investor clients
Hmm.
as well. I just like seeing people be happy,
Yeah.
and feel.
Tell me about the difference. What's the difference with a first time? What's it? How different is it working with a first time home buyer versus a real estate investor?
So first-time home buyers are more emotional.
Yes.
And, there's more specifics that have to go into the house. The house has to meet all their needs, whether it be they need a huge kitchen because they love cooking, they need a big yard, they need a fenced in yard, maybe they have a dog.
Hmm.
It has to be within a certain vicinity. Maybe they want to be within a school district. Maybe they want to be near family.
Right.
Now, an investor, 9 times out of 10, if I can make it make sense,
Right. And
we
dollars.
and dollars, yeah, definitely, we go for it.
Yeah.
However, in this market, both are challenging because, there's so many families out there looking for homes to move into. There's so many first time home buyers. And either way, the market's high. There's not a lot of good deals. So you
Mm.
have to really find the perfect situation no matter which buyer you're dealing with.
Yeah. And that's got to be a juggling act, right? You've got to be wearing hats of many kinds to deal with all these different mindsets and emotions and, what they're looking for, it's so tell us about that. How do you handle that?
That's like going to the grocery store,
Hmm.
which most people go to the grocery store and have trouble remembering one list.
Right.
Imagine going to the grocery store and having several lists with you, and they all say different things.
Yeah.
Like one says apples, oranges, chicken, and then you have another list and it says apple juice, shrimp, and eggs. Like, and you have to find, the perfect situation for every buyer.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't stand going to the grocery store, and nothing's worse than when I get a phone call on the way home from work. Hey, do you mind stopping? And it's like, sure, I don't mind. Um, but and then there's some transactions that you're like, sure, I don't mind. I'll take that on, because it's more than I think when we do this, what we do for a living. It's not necessarily, it's not about the check, right? It's about the people involved. It's about the aftermath. It's about putting that family into a home. It's about finding that real estate investor, profit that's going to create wealth for the future, right? Generational wealth for maybe their children, themselves, or a retirement plan. So I definitely give you a lot of kudos for that. It's not an easy thing to juggle. Well, we're almost at that point where we're ready to get into that final question here, but I don't really want this to end. I feel like we're moving a little too fast on this. Anybody else out there feel the same way? Feel free to hit the like button. I'm sure it's down there somewhere. Um, but we'll jump into it anyway. And this is really my favorite part of the interview. And this is where I ask my guest to leave us with a parting piece of pie. Now, PI is an acronym. You may have seen this question asked on other shows, on other episodes, but PI stands for something profound, something inspiring, or something entertaining. So you have full rights. The microphone's all yours. You can tell us one of the three, or you can tell us all three. Something profound, inspiring, and entertaining.
Well, I want to say an interesting fact about first time home buyers since that's been a reoccurring topic today.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I find when I come into first time home buyers is that a lot of them didn't think initially that they could purchase a house. I end up converting a lot of people looking for rentals into home buyers. And something interesting that I learned is that out of 17 million Americans, they all spent half of their income on rent.
Wow.
Why would you spend half of your income paying for somebody else's house but think that you can't get your own?
Right. Wow. Especially with the cost of rent in some of these areas, right? I mean, I saw a rental go for over $3,000. Why couldn't you own a house for over $3,000 monthly payment, right?
Most of the loans that I've most recently closed, I could think of two just last month in December, where the mortgage payment actually came out to less than what the rent they were paying in their rental was.
And that's pretty profound. And I think that's something that people don't even realize. They think that they're saving money by renting, right? Is that you think that's the mindset they have, or
That, or
what?
they think that just because the market's high, it's not possible to get out of their rental and get into a house. But with sales are high and people are still moving, all
Right,
these transactions are occurring because it is possible.
right, right.
And not for nothing, but the two clients that I was referring to went from small apartments to homes with a yard and a basement, and they upgraded. So they actually got more for their money. And at the end of the day, it's an asset. That's something that they could leave to their children. They could eventually rent it out, move to a bigger home. They have something. When you finish renting, you have to pack up your stuff and go.
Right.
And if you're lucky, you get your security deposit back.
Right. And an appreciating asset at that, right? So I think buying the home is really, it's buying an appreciating asset that's going to generate, generational wealth. And that I think is the key takeaway to home ownership. It's not just about buying your home, right? Buying a house is not only a home, but it's the future. And it's wealth for your family, for yourself, and your retirement if that's the case.
It's the American dream.
It's the American dream. Well, we're keeping people dreaming out there. We're keeping them moving. We're keeping that wealth growing and giving families a warm home and a roof over their head. So I thank you for being on the show. Just any last parting words you want to say? Anything you want to say to the camera, to our audience?
No, I
I think you said it all.
think I've said a lot.
Yeah, you definitely have. Well, thanks again for tuning in to the Advisors Advantage, where we're here giving you the advantage you need for the experience you want. See you on the next show.